speaker, she looked up, a gleam of satisfaction in her eyes. I always thought, she said in a thoughtful, faraway voice, that sounded as if she was talking to herself as to me, that I could have been a lesbian. I looked up, startled. As she stood next to the stairs, leaning both hands on her cane, she looked at me keenly, as if looking into my life and beyond, back into hers. You remember my friend Mary from the Organic Gardening Club? I think we could have been lesbians if we had the chance. One day she asked me if I liked sex. I think if that had been another time, we would have just done it. What's the big deal about sex? I lost my place, I'm sorry. What's the big deal about sex? America is so puritanic, I think that's why the big fuss about gay rights. My mother stepped out with her left leg, shifting the weight that she was leaning on her cane. She braced herself against the wall again, reaching out with the cane to retrieve her other sneaker. After she pulled it over to me, she looked back up at me. Don't get excited. We didn't do anything. She looked down at her sneaker. A smile was curling the edges of my lips. I thought about mentioning the difference between do you like sex and would you like to have sex, but I didn't. My mother looked up, her eyes narrowed to the pinpoint of a precise memory. Now Vera, the woman in my nursing program, she was something special. My mother looked past me, far into the distance. She had nice broad shoulders like her father, and boy, was she interesting to talk to. She walked like a man, her feet pointing to the outside. She didn't pretend to be anything she wasn't, so everybody knew she was a lesbian. None of the other women wanted to have anything to do with her, even the other black women. They were all cats. But I liked her. When you listened to her talk, you knew she had something between her ears. She really knew how to think for herself. When she put her hand on my knee, I didn't say anything. I just pushed her hand away like I would do to a man. Poor woman, I was probably the only one in the program who had a kind word for her. My mother's eyes reddened, and she looked down, again at her sneaker, putting on her shoes, this daily incidental that had become a monumental task. I heard the story of Vera before, about the hand on the knee, a reminder in my pre-adolescence, when lesbianism was still a foreign concept. That all people should be treated fairly with respect, like the human beings they are. But today, my mother's reminiscence put there in sharper focus for me. This broad-shouldered black lesbian, this woman ahead of her time, who, despite the small-minded women in her nursing program, despite the closed doors of the 50s, could risk breaking all taboos. Placed her hand on the knee of a straight, white, married woman, who at 40 years old was pregnant with her first and only child. I imagined myself in my mother's womb, a place I had never dared to think of. Curled up tight, grown larger in the amniotic fluids that transmitted the touch of Vera's hand on my mother's knee. Perhaps feeling a flutter of excitement. Then the light brush of my mother's arms across her stomach, sweeping away Vera's hand, keeping all that she was expected to be in place.